for that.
Try me, Beyonce.
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there is one character who pretty much everyone can agree is a total badass. And no, I'm not talking about the Hulk or Winter Soldier or Thor or any of those guys. I'm talking about the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Wong.
Oh, very good.
Here's the thing though, during Phase 4, Wong has been a bit of an enigma, seemingly everywhere all at once, running around getting into all kinds of shenanigans.
I suggest you join me before you do something reckless.
What if this is all building towards something major? What if Wong has been fighting the war that we all know is coming eventually before our very eyes without us knowing it? Let's go ahead and explore that possibility.
Oh, Wong! I always bet on Asia.
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Wong was introduced to us as the humble and recently appointed librarian at Kamar-Taj. Trained by the Ancient One, Wong became a master of the mystic arts. Not only did Wong learn of the Infinity Stones, but he also spent his time studying and keeping track of them, fearing what would happen if somebody was able to combine all 6 stones. This type of involvement from Wong behind the scenes in such major events would somewhat foreshadow the role he would assume in future MCU phases. Assisting Stephen Strange in his studies, after taking some time to warm up to the Doctor of course, Wong would eventually assist Doctor Strange in defending Hong Kong and the Sanctum there from Caecilius. The next time MCU fans would catch up with Wong would be during the events of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame.
What, you wanted more?
Fighting alongside Doctor Strange and Iron Man when Thanos' minions, called the Black Order, attacked New York in search of the Time Stone. Once the fight between Iron Man, Strange, and the Black Order took to space, Wong would be forced to stay back on Earth and protect the Sanctum Sanctorum for the time being. Once again foreshadowing the pivotal role Wong has been playing in Phase 4 all the way back in Phase 3, he would take it upon himself to assemble the world's heroes, transporting them to the Avengers compound for the final battle against the Mad Titan Thanos. During the gap in time between the snap and the events of Endgame, when half of the universe was wiped from existence, including Doctor Strange during the blip, Wong wound up becoming the new Sorcerer Supreme. This all brings us to Phase 4 of the MCU, which we are currently nearing the end of, with the last half of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special are closing things out before the end of this year. During Phase 4, Wong has been incredibly active, both in front and behind the scenes, breaking and returning Emil Blonsky, aka the Abomination, in and out of Damage Control Supermax prison to participate in underground cage matches in China, appearing in court alongside and consulting with She-Hulk, as well as recruiting Shang-Chi and Katie Chen. Wong would also survive a ruthless attack on Kamar-Taj by the Scarlet Witch, who was corrupted by the Darkhold. After helping Doctor Strange defeat Scarlet Witch during the events of Multiverse of Madness, most recently and chronologically in the MCU timeline, Wong has been taking care of America Chavez as she studies and trains with the mystic arts. Now that we are all caught up and I've laid out some of the groundwork for the theories and speculations we're about to dive into in this video, we as fans of the MCU pose many questions. For one, has Wong already been fighting the war against Kang the Conqueror this whole time? Looking at a theory posted by Reddit user Xanthrax on the subreddit r Marvel Studios, which inspired this video and topic of discussion, the user theorizes that not all of Wong's cameos in Phase 4 have happened for him in the order they've happened for fans viewing the movies or shows. Or perhaps in some instances, they have happened in order for Wong, as it was revealed that the events of Doctor Strange 2 take place after most of the events of She-Hulk. But She-Hulk was released after Doctor Strange 2 and the events of Shang-Chi happened at the same time as She-Hulk, meaning, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. All joking aside, further analyzing Wong's appearances in MCU Phase 4 movies and TV shows, there may be good evidence to support Xanthrax's theory, with Wong appearing conveniently and sporadically, as well as always moving rather mysteriously. Wong may be jumping back and forth throughout time and the multiverse, manipulating things in an effort to prevent the imminent and potential doom that he knows awaits Earth. It is his job to protect the planet as Sorcerer Supreme after all. So could it be that Wong learned from what may be perceived and is widely debated as Doctor Strange's greatest mistake in combating Thanos? Instead of looking into the future to find the one way to beat the tyrant moving forward, perhaps Wong recognizes Kang as a threat from the future and is going into the past, working backwards, putting things in place for the inevitable battle that he knows will come.
I know this is a lot to take in, but you're gonna have to start getting used to that.
The possibility exists that Wong is attempting to assemble a new Avengers team, or perhaps he arrogantly thinks that he can handle this threat on his own, and that is why he's always been so secretive and viewers don't ever quite see what he's been doing between jumping through portals, or the fire holes, as Madison with 2 N's describes them. Commonly referred to as the new Nick Fury of phases 4 and 5 among fans, Wong has apparently been keeping the likes of Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel up to speed on his mission, while also seeking out the likes of Shang-Chi to assure he understands and hones the powers of the 10 rings to the fullest. Wong may also already understand that in his efforts to defend the Earth from Kang, he will need assistance of not only superheroes, but anti-heroes and supervillains as well, which is why he's been helping the likes of Abomination cultivate his powers and aiding in assuring that he gets out of prison. During an episode of She-Hulk, not only was Wong late for an important hearing, putting emphasis on how he lost track of time, but he and Jennifer Walters also make jokes and comments about wiping memories and not again.
Not erasing everyone's memories, not again.
That's not what I was thinking. That is highly unethical.
Which at face value is probably just referring to the events of Spider-Man No Way Home when Doctor Strange made everyone forget who Peter Parker was. But it may imply more than we think. Does Wong remember who Peter Parker and the Spider-Man/men were? What if Wong has been engaging in memory wiping spells himself, albeit on a lesser scale? All to cover up his time traveling and universe hopping thus far. Remember, when deciding he would help conjure and cast the memory erasing spell for Peter Parker during No Way Home, Doctor Strange consulted with Wong briefly, who ultimately had more important matters to attend to, and although disagreeing with using a spell of that magnitude, was somewhat okay with the fact that Strange was going to use this type of enchantment. We assumed at first that those more important matters were Wong's adventures during the events of Shang-Chi, but further revelations of the MCU timeline would indicate otherwise. It was joked about by Strange how Wong himself does not remember the full moon party at Comitage. This could be evidence that Wong's passiveness towards Strange's actions is due to his understanding that in the grand scheme of things, a far greater threat is looming in the very near future, and that the timeline has already been somewhat messed with, unbeknownst to everyone else regardless. With movies on the horizon like Thunderbolts bringing back characters that we love but have somewhat faded into obscurity inside of the MCU, I'm looking at you, Ghost, we have to assume that evil, OG Carl Mordo, will once again be interacting with whomever the Sorcerer Supreme is sooner rather than later. To speculate further, it could be that Mordo aligns himself with Kang in some fashion, believing the Conqueror to be inevitable or something like that. Could it also be possible that someone like Carl Mordo has been tailing Wong across time and space, undoing the plans the Master of the Mystic Arts has been setting in place? I mean, it's not like we have really seen or been privy to what Mordo has been doing this whole time, and with Doctor Strange just taking off with Clea at the end of Multiverse of Madness, Mordo seemingly has a part to play in something significant down the line. Furthermore, it's not like Wong is just going to foil Kang the Conqueror and his plans with ease. I mean, there's going to be a multiversal war or multiple catastrophic events taking place, as who would want to watch a movie where the bad guy's already lost? Now, knowing that Phase 6 will conclude the MCU's multiverse saga with Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret War, some things can also be hypothesized based off of those titles alone. I predict Kang Dynasty will establish an army of hundreds or even thousands of Kang variants and set the stage for our favorite superhero variants to battle with each other before coming together by the end of Secret Wars, all to conquer the Kangs themselves. If this were to be the case, there will also undoubtedly be factions of characters with their own agendas and vocations leading up to the next cataclysmic war over the universe, all before realizing the common and most important purpose of destroying Kang. Now, looking at the comics, at no point does Wong ever really take on a Nick Fury type role, recruiting a team of Earth's mightiest heroes. I mean, he did assemble the Midnight Suns during the Damnation arc, but that's neither here nor there. Nor does he ever take on the title of Sorcerer Supreme. That is purely MCU. Wong did work within the Avengers ranks for a short while, mostly as a cook and assistant to say the least. Kevin Feige and the good folks at Marvel Studios are clearly drawing inspiration and amalgamating the Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty storylines from the comics while shaping phases 5 and 6. And Wong didn't play a big part in either of those on the page. During the Kang Dynasty, aka Kang War Saga, the Conqueror and his son Marcus banished the Avengers to space, and successfully took over Earth with their army from the future before ultimately being defeated by the Avengers in the end. Because, you know, naturally. During the original Secret Wars story arc, the Beyonder assembled all of Marvel's superheroes and supervillains on Battleworld to see who would win in the ultimate fight against good and evil. Shortly after, Secret Wars 2 would take place with essentially the exact same premise. In 2015, the Secret Wars story would be reimagined and retold with many themes that align with the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Phase 4. In this storyline, the multiverse began collapsing and multiple beings called the Beyonders sought to destroy all realities. Various incursions wound up taking place, like we learned about during Phase 4, and eventually our heroes and villains would wind up on Battleworld once again. After a myriad of insane twists and turns, and a cataclysmic scrap between Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Doom, eventually the Marvel Universe, and even the multiverse as a whole, would be restored back to its proper place. All that being said, in the movies, it is most probable, and more than likely, that Wong is simply contacting characters and assembling a new group of Avengers inadvertently, all while catching up on his favorite decades-old television series. Although with all the secrecy and supposition surrounding the current Sorcerer Supreme, if any of these theories were to be true by chance, then you could say that Wong has been fighting the secret war already. And that's our video. What do you think of these theories and propositions? Do you agree that any of this could be possible, or are we totally off base? At the end of the day, this type of debate and hypothesizing about comic book and movie characters we love is precisely what brings us all together. So thanks for spending time with us predicting the future by analyzing the past. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons for more conspiratorial comic content.